morning, people. Well, good evening. It's kind of evening, like 6:30 Central Standard Time. Boy, there's been a lot going on in the past week. This is Saturday. Happy Sabbath. Hope you all are having a blessed Sabbath. But man, it has been so much good stuff going on. Like I said, I made a post on my Facebook, several posts on my Facebook, that man, this world is taking a shift. I've been saying this though for years. I've been saying this, for about at least since COVID, that this world is taking us, is shifting spiritually. There's a spiritual shift in this world, and now it's really being more pronounced in America, in this country. So anyway, everybody's talking about this Charlie Kirk guy, and a lot of us didn't even really know who this boy was. And I call him a boy because he's 31. He's young, just started his life out. We didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until his murder, his assassination, his martyrdom. And I call him a martyr because whether you agree with him or not, he was murdered for his beliefs, for the rhetoric that he spread throughout the country, throughout America, and his political beliefs. So he was martyred because of his beliefs and his religious beliefs. He was, in my opinion, he was a right-wing, conservative, white supremacist Christian nationalist who used the Bible like slave masters used the Bible to support the system of slavery in America. That's the same thing that Charlie Kirk did. He used the Bible to support his political views, his white nationalist, Christian, Republican, right-wing political views. So, but the thing about it is, he still believed in Jesus Christ. So, I'm not going to say all this other evil stuff that a lot of these wicked people of all races and backgrounds are saying online about this man's brutal, demonic murder or assassination or whatever you want to call it. It was a brutal, demonic killing. And I'm not going to say, he burned in hell, this is karma, this is what he gets, that. All I'm going to say is that he is a symptom. The murder or assassination of Charlie Kirk, and of course the other girl, the girl in Irina Zarutsky, is that her name? Zaruska? The Ukrainian immigrant refugee girl that was killed in Charlotte on the subway, the light rail. Then there's the black girl, Dakara Thompson, that was killed in Maryland by an illegal alien. All of these are symptoms of America. It's all of this stuff is a symptom. It's not the cause. And everybody want to point fingers and blame. The Republicans want to blame the Democrats. Democrats want to blame the Republicans. No, everybody's to blame because America is being constantly punished for her wickedness. And then going back to this Charlie Kirk situation, now they're trying to say that now that they know that this young man was white, which we almost knew. Most of the people almost knew. Whenever there's a school shooting or there's some type of mass shooting like this, we almost know that the the person of interest is going to usually be white. Usually a white man. Whether it's a white man that identifies as a woman who's a tranny, or if it was a regular, straight, heterosexual white man, we knew that the person of interest, the suspect, the shooter, was going to more than likely be a white man. So, Charlie Kirk liked to use stereotypes and liked to say that black people commit most of the crime in this country, and, black people, he was a very unapologetic, avowed white supremacist. So let's not get that twisted, not one bit. So to make him a saint, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to let y'all do that. But I will say that because he believed in Jesus Christ, because he was a Christian, Charlie was not perfect. Charlie Kirk was not perfect. So, you know, he did preach the gospel. So he probably, more than likely, in my opinion, and I pray that he probably is in heaven. He's probably with God now. He's probably with the Lord now. And I'm hoping that, just from what I've seen, that Charlie did not suffer, you know, when he was shot. I don't think he suffered long before he transitioned. So the greatest accomplishment, now that, you know, they're making him a martyr and they're trying to make him a saint and all of this other stuff, all around the world now. Even they got visuals and stuff for him all over the world, in the UK, in Korea. And that's a good thing, because people are recognizing now that nobody deserves to die like that just because of their beliefs. So Charlie Kirk's assassination sent a message, and it should teach a lesson to everyone all over the world, that, you know, it's just it's a sign of the times. It's wickedness being increased. I mean, although we've had political assassinations throughout history, but it's just a sign of the times. And it's, you know, now, you know, the man, you know, all he did was just travel to college campuses and debate people. And was that the reason for him to be killed? Is that a reason for him to die the death that he died, the way that he died? And they're going to try to, and I'm going to tell y'all what it is now with these Republicans and these conservatives. They wanted it so bad to be a homosexual or tranny or an illegal, a foreigner, or a person of color. They wanted it so bad to not be a white man. But deep down in their hearts, they knew that it was a white man. And when they did confirm, the suspect was in fact a 22-year-old white boy. Born, you know, come from a solid home, two-parent family. They said even his daddy was a retired law enforcement, you know, sheriff's deputy, and was a minister, or, you know, he came from a perfect white bread model home, who committed this heinous act. So now they have to try to spin it another way. They got to blame somebody that, you know, from a marginalized community. So since the man was not black, what's his name, Tyler Johnson? Since he was not black, since Tyler Johnson was not black, or not foreign, not Muslim, not a foreigner, or not a person of color, they're going to put it on homosexual. They're saying now, oh, we found out, it's been confirmed that he lived with a transgender lover, a man who's transgender. He lived with a tranny. And they had a tranny agenda, a tranny manifesto, and a tranny plan to take out Charlie Kirk. That's how they're trying to spin it now. And they're saying, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't round up and find some random tranny and make him come up with this, create this narrative that that Charlie Kirk, Tyler Johnson was homosexual. I would not be surprised if they just pull this tranny out of obscurity and come up with this narrative just to fit their agenda, or just to fit their narrative. Because first they was trying to say that Tyler Johnson was Antifa, and they're still trying to say that now. But then when it was confirmed by his own family members that they were hardcore MAGA Republicans, that really threw them for a loop. So now we got to figure out a way we can spin this narrative and blame it on wokeism, and blame it on trannyism, and blame it on the homosexual gay agenda. Now put it on homosexuals. And now that they have come up with this narrative, don't be surprised if they don't rile up rednecks and conservative right-wing people and get them to try to come out against the trans community, the LGBTQ, the alphabet. Don't be surprised if they don't try to rile up the people to come out and attack gays now, that community. I would not be a bit surprised. And speaking of that, the LGBTQ, the situation that happened with Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, I know the judge, the magistrate. I once knew her from years ago. I went to school with her. They're going to try to say she doesn't have a law school education and she's not qualified to be a magistrate and she's a homosexual. They even went back into her personal life, because they're saying that, you know, her name is Teresa Stokes. She's married to a woman. I knew Teresa when she lived in Florida. We went to law school together. I don't know if Teresa, she's like me, she didn't finish, because me and Teresa were both traveling from out of state to attend law school. So I didn't finish, and maybe she didn't, and maybe she did, but she's a judge now. So she did something right to become a magistrate in North Carolina. So they're trying to say, oh, she's a DEI hire, she's a lesbian, and she didn't lock him up because she wanted to send him to the drug rehab that her and her lesbian wife run, and there's a conflict of interest, and now they're trying to blame this woman for what DeCarlos Brown, the killer of Irina Zaruska, they're trying to blame her for releasing him out on a cashless bond for a victimless misdemeanor crime. They're trying to blame Teresa Stokes, the judge, the magistrate, for releasing or allowing the man to walk away and not incarcerate him or imprison him. And so how would she know 9 months later that this demon, well, this happened, this is September, or did it happen? Yeah, whenever. How does she know that months later that this demon would go and do what he did to this young lady? She had no idea. And they said that she operated within her judicial authority and her judicial discretion, and she operated within legal guidelines. So what she did was not wrong. Matter of fact, I will venture to say that Teresa probably thought that this man, which I would not be surprised, and I told y'all that this man, I would not be a bit surprised if this man is one of those homeless people who probably does have a psychiatric condition. He probably was high out of his mind on drugs. His psychiatric condition, his schizophrenia, was probably substance-induced, drug-induced. He probably was high out of his mind at the time he killed Irina. And I'm gonna tell y'all what they do, because I worked in that population myself. The homeless and the mentally ill and the addiction, the addicts. I work with them. The ex-offenders, the criminals. I work with all those populations. And I'm gonna tell you a lot of times that those men like him, which the system also created, because the system has rigged it to the point that you break a black man mentally, spiritually, economically, in every way. Socially, you break black men like that. And he is a victim of the system too. He's a symptom of a broken system. And I tell you what I think he probably did. If he has not went outright completely crazy in his mind, he is playing crazy to get off the street and go to prison for the rest of his life. They said his brother is already in prison for the rest of, for 30, 40 years for murder, for robbery. He already has a brother in there. Said his father was a career criminal. And this man is also a career criminal. And I'm going to tell you what happened. The man is probably incapable of functioning out here in society and supporting himself and being self-sufficient because of the things put in place by this system to operate against him. He probably came from a broken home. He probably, I'm telling you, I already know the situation with this man. So either he really truly is schizophrenic, or he is playing crazy and schizophrenic to get off the street and go to prison where his brother is right now, so that he will never have to worry about finding a job, feeding himself, finding a place to sleep, because the state now, or the federal government, is going to feed and clothe and house him for the rest of his life now. But what he did not realize, and when you do demonic stuff, when you play demonic games, you win demonic prizes. It's not going to be that simple now. Because he did what he did to this poor young lady, it's backfiring on him. So now they're talking about putting him to death. I bet you he did not anticipate this, that they're going to put him to death. This, the feds picked up the crime just in case North Carolina does not give him the death penalty, and they go soft on this crime and try to give him life in prison. The feds picked it up And they are already talking about they are going to seek the death penalty for him. So his plan, if he was playing crazy, it backfired on him. Because a lot of these men out here, they will do that. They will play crazy and they will commit a crime like I believe that migrant did too. That burnt that woman alive up there in New York. I believe he did that so that he could go to prison and be taken care of. I think he did that. They do that, y'all. I'm telling you. If only y'all knew. They do that. They even murder children. They kill kids to get out of being responsible for them. Men and women do that. Leaving these kids in these hot cars and stuff. Doing things to hurt these kids. Abusing them and killing them, murdering them and stuff. They do that because they don't want to be bothered with the child. They don't want to have the responsibility of taking care of the child a lot of times. And so they snap under the weight of that burden of having to be this provider for that child, or they just do it out of wickedness and evil, demonic motives to get rid of the child. It happens. This is the world we live in. This is why the scripture says that wickedness increases. Wickedness has increased. And this is just a symptom. All of these things, people are like, well, why God allow this stuff to happen? The reason why God allows this stuff to happen is because it's a cause and effect because of man's sinfulness and wickedness. This is why the suffering and disease and all of this, the famine, all of these things are happening in the world because of man's own disobedience. Because of man's own wickedness. This is why these things are happening in the world. Oh, got the hiccups. So, and I tried to explain in a post that I put on Facebook that the things that the world is going through now, all the natural disasters, the wickedness, the war, the famine, and all of this stuff is happening as a result of sin and wickedness. But y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Wait until the wrath of God rains down on this world during the tribulation period. That's when you are going to see suffering, global suffering all over the world, like the Bible said that the human civilization has never witnessed in history, in the history of the world, since the foundation of the earth, since the days of Adam. During the 7-year tribulation period, there will be intense suffering like you have never seen before. But hopefully the church is not going to be here to witness the suffering. All of us that accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, we are not going to be here to experience the tribulation. Thank the Lord. Because Jesus is going to spare us from that. Jesus is going to take his people away from here. He's going to be like, well, no, let me go ahead and get my people, because the great tribulation is about to begin. Let me go ahead and get my people up out of there. And that's what's going to happen. A lot of people don't believe it, but it's going to happen that way. So get ready. Brace yourselves, because it's going to happen. That's just the way, it's going to go down. I don't care what nobody says. You can believe it or not, but that's the way it's going to be. And now all I can say is, if you're not saved, you better get saved. Hold on, I just got to the lake. I'm going fishing today. I'll be back. Okay, so like I said, this is just all this stuff that's happening in this world is just a symptom of what, of the world's wickedness, And this ain't got nothing to do with God. It's got everything to do with God allowing man to suffer the consequences of their wickedness. That's all this is. So don't go blaming God for every bad thing that's happening out here in this world. But yeah, this whole thing with Charlie Kirk, it was a message sent to the masses. It was a mass shooting because it happened in front of a mass crowd. And it's a message sent to the masses that there's a turning point. He was the founder of Turning Point. And it's a turning point in this country to where the civil unrest is about to get worse. And him in particular being the person, you know, to set this whole thing in motion and escalate everything. The civil unrest was, that was the reason, because he was the founder of Turning Point, and this reflects a turning point in this country. Are these fish biting? Let's see what's out here. Look like, oh, I look like I might see some fish biting. It might be. But anyway, that's a reflection of the turning point of this country, because they've been wanting, these right-wing rednecks been wanting a revolution when they pulled that January 6th insurrection. Remember, there was an insurrection in heaven with Lucifer and a third of the angels who were became demons. And Lucifer became Satan, and a third of the angels that followed him during the insurrection to try to overthrow God in his own house, they all fell to the earth and became demons, remember? And so that's what happened on earth. That insurrection that happened on January 6th, there was a human insurrection. There was a heavenly insurrection, and this was an earthly insurrection. And to me, I mean, everything is symbolic. Everything is a harbinger. Like the Bible said, nothing new is under the sun. And Charlie Kirk's assassination is just a harbinger of the things to come, and it is also a marker of the it's a turning point spiritually of what's going to happen in this world. So I see more civil unrest. They're now trying to blame transsexuals. They're trying to say, you know, the man that killed him was a tranny lover. So now they're going to come after the LGBT. The girl that got killed in Charlotte, they're going to put that, because that was a black man did that. So of course they're going to come after the black people and black men even harder. Trump already talked about he's going to deploy troops into Memphis. Like I said, he's coming after all of the black cities. He's deploying them in all the black cities. But then when you think about it, all these crimes that's happening now, they just had a white boy just shoot a sheriff's deputy in the face in a small rural town in Georgia. There's a manhunt out for him, and that white boy just shot the man in the face. I think he's in his early 20s. Small little community in rural Georgia. The murder of Charlie Kirk, that happened in the whitest state, one of the whitest states in the country. It was white on white violence. I think Utah has a 2% African American community. I'm trying to get my darn line out. That happened in Utah. That didn't happen in Mississippi. It didn't happen in Louisiana. It didn't happen in Texas. It happened in one of the whitest states in the Union. One of the whitest states in the country. Yeah, they come and try this in a small town. Those happen in small towns. What do you think about that? Most of the school shooting that happened in Colorado, wasn't that a small town? Most of the school shootings, they usually don't happen in major cities. They usually don't happen in inner city schools. Most of those school shootings take place in small towns, suburban towns, rural towns, by white kids, usually white boys. So y'all can miss me with that crap. But this is all, and these Democrats and these Republicans need to all just shut up. That's why I don't affiliate, and I don't support neither one of them, because they all need to shut up. Because they all to blame for this stuff. They blame for the immigration, the invasion of all these illegals. They are to blame for all of the drugs that have been, come on, man. They're to blame for all the drugs, the fentanyl that's being shipped over here every day. They're to blame for all of this stuff. They're trying to point fingers and blame the other when they're all to blame, because under Republican and Democrat administrations, drugs were brought into this country. illegals were being smuggled into this country. So they just need to shut up and take responsibility for their own failures. Ooh, come on. Also, am I doing this wrong? But anyway, yeah, man. They got a manhunt now. White boy just shot a sheriff's deputy in the face. I don't know if they caught him yet. I ain't checked the news since I left. Yeah, he just straight up and shot a sheriff's deputy in the face. Yeah. And they said that boy had had emotional problems, but no, they didn't put him to jail. They blaming mental health on him. They blaming mental health on him, you know. Oh, he's been disturbed for a long time. Well, why y'all didn't do nothing about it then if y'all knew he was disturbed? Just like they didn't do anything about the black dude that just murdered the Ukrainian refugee. They didn't do nothing about it. They don't never do nothing about it until it's too late. So, it's all, you know, failures of the system. And, you know, they all want to blame each other when everybody's to blame, because the world is a wicked place, and as you sow wickedness, you will reap wickedness. And if you have not accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, then I strongly encourage you to do so, because this world is going to get worse, people. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. And that's why I strongly encourage you to get right before Jesus cracked the clouds and come down here to collect his church. Well, he ain't gonna come to the earth, but he's gonna come into the air, and he's gonna meet the church in the air. And that's why I encourage you. You know, if you ain't been saved, to get saved. But let me pause this and fix my line, get my line ready. Also, the news just reported with the Epstein situation, they just found 18,000 emails over a span of 20 years from Jeffrey Epstein. And they said it was a treasure trove of evidence. And they have learned that Ghislaine has been lying to the authorities. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ghislaine don't catch some more charges. Because they did say that the Epstein investigation is not over. It's still happening, and they are still got some co-conspirators that they gonna holler at, but they have not said who they are, because they said they don't want to blow the investigation. So they found a treasure trove, they said, of emails, 18,000 emails from Jeff Epstein. So yeah, we're gonna see what comes of that. That news report just aired today. 18,000 from 2002 to 2022. Oh no, wait a minute, Epstein? No, not 2022. Why would? Yeah, but they said it was over 20 years. Because Epstein, I think he hung himself in 2019. So I don't know why anybody would still be in his emails. But anyway, they said Ghislaine lied. They caught her in some more lies. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ghislaine don't catch another case. That might be why they, hey, come on, man. That might be why Trump did not just give her a flat out pardon. That might be why she, hold on, wait a minute, this is wrapped up wrong. That might be why that she didn't get a flat out pardon, because they found some more stuff on her that she lied. She lied to the authorities. But there's been some big names named in those Epstein files, like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, the famous lawyer. Who else? Donald Trump. Clinton, Trump, Prince Andrew, Dershowitz, of course Ghislaine, but she's already in prison. And they keep talking about, well, we don't know, Trump might be wanting all this stuff to happen to get his mind off, get everybody's mind off of Epstein, and all this other stuff was a distraction, and Charlie Kirk's death might have been just it might have been a setup to keep everybody's mind off Epstein. That's I don't know about all that. But yeah, it could be that, then let's not forget about the war that's about to happen. Dang, I am messing this up. Let's not forget about the war, World War III, that's about to take place. Let's not even think about, what about the tariffs that everybody's losing their jobs for and getting laid off? The tariffs that's causing all these massive layoffs and stuff. Let's talk about that. What about that? So is, Charlie Kirk supposed to be a distraction to take everybody's minds off of those things? Off of Epstein, the tariffs, the massive layoffs, the job displacements from AI, the war, the impending world war. Well, we're already in World War III. It's just America has not been directly attacked yet. And I'm going to talk about that too in a minute, about how this might be a reflection of what happens to America in the end time during the tribulation. So let me unwind my line and I'll be back. All right, I got my hook on, got my bait. Here we go. I'll probably just take that bobber off. That bobber should have been on there. And then I'll take the bobber off. I got a jig on here. I really don't need that bobber on here. Ball head jigs on here. All right, here we go. Here we go. This thing don't get tangled up like it did out there at Wyandotte. It kept getting tangled, and I had a big fish on there, but it broke my line. It was so big, and I ended up losing it. So it just kept tangling my line. Got one. A little small catfish. Got him. Little catfish. You gotta let him go though, cause he's small. He's just a baby. I like those ball head jigs, cause you can just unhook him and throw him back in there. But he's just a baby. catfish. Gotta get my scissors because he's flapping a little bit. Yep, that's a little catfish. But he's too little to keep. It's a ball head jig and a piece of a night crawler. Dang, I don't have my scissors. There they are. Scissors in here. I don't have to touch him. It's got him. Got him in his mouth. He got him in his mouth. I had to let him go. These worms are long, so I gotta end up cutting these because these are some big, fat, juicy worms that I got out there when I was at Lake Jacomo. And these worms are pretty. These worms are pretty long. I hate when people come up here being loud. Damn. Yeah, I got these at Lake Jacomo. Being all loud, man. Go somewhere else. Jeez, don't come over here. I got a little piece of a worm on here. All right. And here we're gonna toss him. One more, so I caught a little baby catfish, so I'm gonna toss this one. So whatever it was that was out there at Lake Jacomo and Wyandotte Lake, where I go fishing on the dock, I already know now that I can't take no lightweight pole out there. I got to take a 12-pounder pole or something like that. So those are, you know, bigger fish out there, because I break my line every time I go out there trying to catch fish. Because I try to go out there with these little Zebco slingshots, and that ain't cracking out there. You ain't getting nothing. I mean, you might catch a small fish out there, but those fish out there in those lakes are big. They're huge. So you can't go out there with no lightweight pole at Lake Jacomo, or not. You can't go out to Smithville either like that. Lake Jacomo, Wyandotte Lake, Smithville, no. You better go with some heavy artillery, some heavy gear out there. So that's why they have them boats. That's why they have those boats, because people like to go out in the water in the boats and fish. But I don't fool around like that. I don't go out in the water because I cannot swim, and I'm not trying to be out there. So I do dock fishing mainly. Little big juicy night crawlers are pretty good. They're pretty good. Just gotta make sure my line don't get tangled. Oh shit. Wait a minute. It's easy to get tangled, especially in the dark where you can't really see. Alright. I think something is on here. Let me see. I think I got something on here. Yeah, it's something. It's something. It's something. Oh, this mug is big, whatever it is. It's big. Oh, it's so big it broke my line. Dang, I broke my line, whatever it was. All right. So it broke my line, whatever it was too big. So, and I cast once more. Let's see where this goes. It's getting dark now. Caught one little baby catfish so far. It's getting dark. A lot of people here today too. Saturday, everybody trying to get their little last fishing in because it's about to get fall. Everybody's trying to come out here because we ain't gonna have too many more 90-degree days and beautiful summer days. So people, they fish in the wintertime too, but most people, they're gonna fish in the summer, you know, when it's warm. So yeah, that's why there's a lot of people out here tonight. Got a bite. I got a bite. Damn. What happened? Some stuff on it. I don't know what the heck. A bunch of junk on here. Throwing stuff in this lake. It is the hood, so they be throwing all kind of stuff in here. I don't know what that is. Gotta get it off my worm. I think I got a bite. No, I don't. No, I don't. It was just some trash. It was just trash. out here. It's getting late. I only caught one so far. So some of these people be out here till midnight. Now, one time I was out here because there was a girl right next to me, and I stayed out here to midnight. And I only caught one fish the whole time, so it's all right though.